Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from PlentyAd5810 and it says, my fiance, 30 female and I, 36 male, are having serious issues after her sister interfered with my family's issues. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. My fiance and I have been together for 3.5 years, engaged for 18 months and getting married in May. I thought things were wonderful, but we have hit a major problem. I work in the shipping industry and was away from home for the majority of this. Sorry for the long post, got a lot of background that led to this. A little background. My sister and fiance were best friends through our relationship. I'm very close with my sister and my parents. My fiance is very close with her sister, and we thought of everyone as our own families. Recently this year, my sister left her mentally abusive husband for another guy. The new guy has a bad past and criminal record, and rightfully so, everyone is skeptical of the guy. But my sister's relationship with her now boyfriend is a whole other thing. That I'm not going to get into. Not my business as long as she is safe and happy. Since she has been with this new guy, my fiance has been very vocal about her opinion of him. That he is a criminal. This has put a strain on their friendship, of course. A little over 3 weeks ago, while going over wedding planning, my fiance told me that she did not want my sister's boyfriend at any of our wedding festivities. She said she was going to approach my sister about it. A few days later, she was afraid to and asked me to confront her about this. I told her I would handle it. Knowing this request would hurt my sister's feelings, I asked my mum for advice on how to handle the situation and how best to approach my sister about this. My mother became upset over it and was afraid that if I asked my sister this, it would hurt my relationship with my sister. I knew it would hurt feelings, but I wanted to try and find a compromise somewhere in all this. After the conversation with my mum, I told my fiance how it went and that it upset my mum. I wanted to give everyone time to cool off as we still have 3 months till the wedding date. I asked my fiance please be patient as this was not an easy subject to approach. My fiance was none too happy about my mum's reaction and was upset as well. Later that night, my fiance and her sister had a long FaceTime call and vented to her about frustrations. This becomes a problem later. A few days passed, and unbeknownst to me, my mum had a chat with my sister and agreed to not bring her boyfriend. At this point, they hadn't told either my fiance or I about it. Then my sister's ex-husband receives an anonymous message on Facebook telling him how my sister cheated on him and left him for a criminal. It was full of half-truths and assumptions, and coincidentally, the few truths it included were things my sister had only ever told 2 people, my mum and my fiance. Once the ex-husband told my sister about the message, shit hit the fan. Next day, I was unaware of the anonymous message until my fiance told me she had to tell me something. She told me that her sister sent an anonymous message to my sister's ex-husband, telling him what she thought was the truth. Fiancé says she only vented to her sister and that her sister took it upon herself to tell the ex-husband. The message included things that were only told to my mum and fiancé. So of course, number one suspect was my fiancé as the culprit of the message. But no one thought she was capable of this. I told my sister it would be best if her sister confessed and cleared fiancé's name. She was upset over it all, but agreed and talked to her sister. The next morning, I awoke to a shitstorm of a group text. Fiancé's sister confessed in a group chat, including myself, fiancé, my sister, and my mother. She confessed and explained herself. And as you can expect, there were a few heated words at first, but it seemed like things were being cleared up. That was until my fiancé decided that was a good idea to get drunk and tell everyone off. Well, then it became just my fiancé telling my mum and my sister how horrible they are in this whole ordeal and how much my fiancé hated my sister's boyfriend. It went on for a couple of hours of texts. I woke up the next morning to find out about all of this. At first, I was confused and upset, trying to figure out what's happening and trying to keep the peace between my family and fiancé. She thinks I took my family's side and not her side, when I was on her side until she had the drunken outburst. My fiancé even so much as laughed about my family being upset. This was 2 weeks ago to the day. Over the next week, we didn't talk much. A few heated words, but we agreed to give it time to cool off and try to approach this level-headed. after a week, unknown to me, my mum came to me to try and talk with my fiancé over things. Fiancé was in the driveway leaving for work when my mum came by and told her she couldn't talk right then. Later that night, fiancé sent an angry barrage of texts to my mum, blaming my mum for everything. I have a sneaking suspicion that fiancé was drunk again during this. As I work on ships, I was out of town. I'd gotten off work early specifically to come home and work things out, as it's difficult to do these things while away for so long. This was 11 days after the anonymous message, and I was at the airport on my way home. At this point, I thought things were calming down and we might be able to talk about it calmly. I received several texts from fiancé about how she refused to pick me up at the airport and wanted to stay in the guest bedroom when I got home. My parents ended up picking me up at the airport. That was when I found out about the angry text fiancé had sent my mum the night before. I arrived home and had a sit-down chat with fiancé finally 3 days ago. From what she says, she has no regrets and refuses to apologize for the way she acted. She sincerely thinks that her sister was right in sending the anonymous message. We both agree to stop talking about it for the day, before one of us gets too upset and prevent it from turning into a yelling match. It's been 3 days and we've hardly spoken to each other in the house. Myself, I can't stand by and let someone intentionally hurt my family. I've talked with my family about it. They're willing to give fiancé another chance on my behalf. My fiancé says she refuses to be anywhere near my family and thinks I've chosen their side. Well, I've been trying to keep the peace between everyone. Is there some way I can approach this and still keep both my family and fiancé? Gee whiz, anonymous text to exes, drunken text tirades, and refusing to apologize overall. And the concerning part for me is that the fiancé is doubling down on her sister's behavior. And then we got the whole not talking afterwards. You need to ask yourself, you're getting married. Is this how you want, conflicts to be handled for the rest of your life because you are getting married? But sometime later, OP came in with the update and said, well, first off, I'd like to thank each and everyone that replied to my original post. A couple of the replies were a little harsh, but looking back, that is exactly what I needed to hear. I broke up with my fiancé almost 2 weeks ago. And when we sat down to talk, she was still adamant that what her sister did was the right thing and didn't care that it hurt my family. She didn't apologize, showed no remorse or any sort of sign that she'd be willing to work with me on this. This left me no choice but to break up with her. The first couple of days were quiet, a lot of crying and sleeping in different rooms, no arguing or fighting. Then she went to stay at a friend's house 2 days later, and that is when things got bad. She would purposely come back to the house only when I wasn't there and bring her sister with her. Took a few more things from the house than we agreed upon, and her sister decided my couch was a great place to change a dirty diaper for her baby, including leaving a leaking dirty diaper on the couch for me to find. Then the next few days started a smear campaign on social media and lies told to friends. Myself, I've stayed quiet on the social media regarding the breakup and keeping my distance, trying to let things cool down. I've now blocked my now fiancé on every platform, including emails, as it was nothing but her trying to drag me into an argument that would go nowhere. Thank you, kind Redditors that helped me see the light. I had a hunch that things weren't all that great, but I needed some strangers to tell me to pull my head out of my ass. The top commenters on this one said, "So sorry you had to experience this. Just focus on how lucky you really are to have dodged that bullet. Damn, she would have been an entitled nightmare of a wife. Good for you. Hope your sister doesn't feel guilty about it. I would worry that it might happen." OP responds saying, "I've already talked with my sister about it. Apparently there have been times in the past, ex-fiancé had gotten drunk and tried to start shit with my sister about me. My sister didn't tell me about this until after the breakup, but apparently it contributed to my sister distancing herself from my ex." Regolis says, "How did her new boyfriend react to all this? Have you talked with him as well?" OP says he actually laughed it off. I was surprised he reacted so well. Probably reacted the best out of everyone involved. Rexplex says, "I just read the original post and then this one. I would also like to add that your former fiancé and your family are very judgmental. Just because your sister's boyfriend has done bad stuff in the past doesn't make him a bad person. People deserve second chances. If he is treating your sister right, he should have been invited to the wedding as her guest. But your ex showed her true colors, so good on you for seeing that." OP says, "After all this has transpired, my family has given her boyfriend a chance. He's been very upfront with his past and has actually been a big help with some family business. He seems very sincere about becoming a better person. I hope this holds true. As other Redditors have pointed out, both my sister and I haven't had the best choices in previous partners. This cat came back says, I find it surprising that you didn't know how drama prone she was after 3.5 years. I wonder if that is because she was able to hide her drinking and personality deficits because you were on ships a lot. Maybe something to consider for the next woman who comes along. Opie says, when I came home unexpectedly, I found 7 empty alcohol bottles throughout the house, as well as overflowing trash and old dog poop from the bad freezer in Texas a few weeks ago. These were those big handle, almost gallon-sized alcohol bottles of gin and rum, and they weren't there 3 weeks prior before I left. It looks like something from a hoarder. For a long time, just a few days before I would return home, she'd complain about having to clean the entire house. Now I know why. Every time I came home, the house was decently clean, but never looked like she had spent days cleaning. She'd been hiding the true amount she was drinking from me while I was gone all this time. And the rest of the comments on this one were pretty much, it's better to break up now than break up after you're married, right? But holy moly. It always makes me think, obviously I'm never going to know, but it always makes me think about their past as well. I know he's on ships a lot, like some of the comments were saying, but did this really just come out of nowhere, or has this been a pattern of this kind of behavior in the past? Clearly, OP's sister was said that she's distancing herself from her because of the past stuff she's done. So it kind of says to me that she's been like that for a long time. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from KimberRex22, and it says, am I the arsehole here for sterilizing myself against my partner's wishes? Okay, Reddit. I need some unbiased outside opinions because I truly feel like I'm going crazy dealing with this situation. I, 28 female, and my partner, 28 male, have 2 children together and have been married for 8 years. For those 8 years, I've either been on birth control when we were preventing pregnancy, or tracking my cycle when we were trying to conceive. Adding this to give the community the context that reproductive responsibility has always fallen on my shoulders. Recently, we discussed the possibility of being done with children since we have our 2 and the family feels really complete. My partner is in agreement that a 3rd child is off the table for him as well. So with that, I thought, great, I can bring up sterilization for either him or I. The reason I wanted this is because I had every form of birth control before, and none of them ever left me feeling 100% okay. So I wanted to be done with birth control completely, since we both agreed we are done. It's been about 3 months since our talk about more children, so I brought up either getting a vasectomy for him, or me getting salpingectomy, removing my fallopian tubes. What I thought would be a productive conversation completely blew up. He outright refused a vasectomy, and when I was okay with that and said I'd happily get a salpingectomy, he completely flipped his shit on me, screaming at me about how he forbids it from happening and he won't allow me to damage myself like that. I ended up just leaving the conversation and heading to get our kids from school. But on the way, I ended up calling my gynecologist to schedule a consultation for the salpingectomy after making sure I won't need my spouse's approval. So Reddit, am I the arsehole here if I go through with a sterilization against my partner's wishes? Snazzy Soul says straight away, he forbids you. Big nope on that. Frolic says, yeah, and lol at him thinking that procedure will damage her more than childbearing. Superculture says, all the hormonal BS we put into our bodies for decades. Vorpal says, not the arsehole, your body, your choice, and no man can forbid you from controlling your reproductive destiny. Desert says, damage yourself. Does he not realize that birth control has serious side effects? I can't help think it's more than the procedures. Even though he said he's done with wanting more kids, his actions say otherwise. He's not being honest with you. If you love this man, talk to him again. Be firm. Find out what he is really not saying. He's your partner. He should be supporting you in your choice for the procedure. You should not be hiding it. I'd say he is the arsehole. So, OP came in with their first update and said, due to the support and advice I found on here, I managed to get the confidence and level headspace needed to try and have another conversation with my partner. After getting our children to their school and daycare for the day, I went out to our local coffee shop to pick us up each a cup. I figured it can either be seen as a show of care or a peace offering. Once I got home, he was sitting at our island, doom scrolling through TikTok. I think we've all been there. Standing across from him would be a bit of a better choice, so I gave us our respective cups and asked if I could get his attention for a conversation. Well, what I hoped would be productive turned unproductive quickly, as he sighed with an eye roll and turned off his phone. I started by asking the big question if he wanted any more children. I even suggested he doesn't think about what I said on the subject and just tell me his feelings about more children. With that, he answered a firm no, and told me, as he said before, a third child is and will always be off the table. I then asked him if he had any fears or concerns about surgery or medical procedures. He said no to this question as well. So I asked if he understood the procedure and what it entailed, and he said yes, he does, which is why he doesn't want me to get it done. In his words, I wouldn't be a woman if I got any part of my reproductive organs, what makes me a woman, removed, and he refuses to allow me down that path. I then followed up by asking about his getting a vasectomy, and he said it's pretty much the same thing for men, and he won't let anyone take away his manhood. The final question I managed to ask was, did he just expect me to be on birth control forever? And this man looked me in the face and said, it's worked so well for me already, why change things up? Guys, as I stated in my previous post, I'm miserable and in debilitating pain with birth control. At the end of this, I just grabbed my coffee and went to sit on our porch, just trying to wrap my head around the conversation, while he sat in the house acting like nothing's wrong, and we're just having a normal day off together. Commenter says to OP, he genuinely does not care for you, your health, or your sanity. Chronic pain is not nothing. I'm sorry you're experiencing this, but please make sure you're safeguarding your own health before attempting to take his viewpoint. This is why people need to understand that gender identity isn't a scary topic laced with hatred. People just want to keep pushing the gender roles our grandparents had. This man genuinely thinks that him getting a vasectomy makes him less of a man, and that his wife shouldn't have a quality of life procedure. I could see a sliver of a possibility of him having a point if both of y'all wanted kids. But y'all don't. Not the arsehole, and definitely recommend getting the procedure anyways. You shouldn't be suffering on pills and hormones for him to be comfortable in your own skin. Steampunk Boy says, as a guy, I can't comprehend doing anything that would bring my partner pain, or could lead her to dying quicker or first. It makes me so sad and miserable to know that so many other men cause this and are just okay with it, or not even aware of the pain and suffering they're causing. I'm not even married to my partner yet, but I love her and will do whatever necessary to make sure that she can live the happiest and healthiest life possible. It makes me so infuriated to know that so many other men don't think this way or even consider it. I mean, shit, look how many men treat their partner when they're on a period like a leper, rather than doing research to understand it and helping in whatever way they can, to make their partners comfortable as they can through it every month. Hell, if I could, I'd gladly take on the pain for her, if it meant she didn't need to struggle or suffer through it. Because at the end of the day, her pain in a way is my pain. It's supposed to be a part of being a partner or married, isn't it? To share each other's struggle and pain, so that neither has to face it alone. So yes, fuck this guy, and may live the rest of his life alone. OP soon came in with another update. It said, hey Reddit, I just want to give a small update. I've been reading all your comments on my last 2 posts, I swear. I appreciate all the advice and kind words. Sometimes even the unkind words, because it gives me more to think about. So to start, I've been at my sister's with the children all weekend. I told my husband that she was feeling lonely and wanted us to stay over. He believed it, as we usually try to do this once a month. I called off of work on Monday, so my sister and I can meet with a divorce lawyer that handled her divorce. I'm unsure if divorce will be the path I go down, but I want to get my ducks in a row before laying it all down for my husband. Also, I would like to answer some questions that I saw a lot in my last post. Yes, I still plan to go through with the sterilization. I absolutely don't want any more children, even if this ends in divorce. I plan to tell him it's getting done no matter what he says or believes. There will definitely be no sex with him anymore. I feel like I lost all attraction and respect for him. The children don't know what's going on. They just think it's a fun time at Auntie's house. Condoms are a no. I exist because of a broken condom. I currently have an IUD, and while yes, it has been the best birth control I've been on, I still cannot function properly for a week out of the month due to the pain, bleeding, and depressive episodes. No, he hasn't done anything like this before, which is what caught me so off guard with everything. Disagreements in our relationship have up until now been able to be discussed and compromised on. We grew up in a deep Catholic community, but fell away from the church years ago. After that, Miriam Light said to the OP, Sounds like you're handling this like a total boss, getting your ducks in a row, making informed choices and not letting anyone guilt trip you into something you don't want. Love to see it. The no sex part and the whole losing attraction and respect, yeah, that's a pretty solid sign that this relationship is on life support. Getting a lawyer's perspective is definitely the move, even if you're not sure about divorce yet. And the condom comment? Valid. Your reasoning is airtight, whatever happens next. Just know you're doing what's best for you. And that's what matters most. Opie says thank you for that. I feel like it's a total shit show on my end, but I'm trying to keep the blow up to a minimum. I know there's a chance shit will hit the fan with him due to how things have been going currently, but I don't want drama to come from my end. Asterisk says, and quotes, I plan to tell him it's getting done no matter what he says or believes. Then replies that saying stop right there. He will clean out your bank accounts. Get this done quietly and quickly. Do not under any circumstances warn this man. Do not dismiss the seriousness of this moment. This is how you get dead. Opie says thankfully our finances for the most part are separated. The only joint bank account we have is for bills and child expenses. Brainfree says serious question. If you're abstaining from sex, why get the procedure? If you're abstaining, have you fallen out of love? Is that the reason for the lawyer? Opie replied, saying, I want the procedure for myself no matter my relationship status. I want to be done with birth control without a chance of children no matter where the future takes me. As well as the fact that this procedure reduces the risk of cervical cancer significantly, which is common in my family, so that's a plus. I haven't fallen out of love with him per se, but I truly hold no respect for him right now with how he's treated me over this. I'm unsure if we will divorce, but I feel like it might be for the best, especially if to him this will damage me. Again, after this one, like the last story, I'm sort of left wondering what the past was like, because the way that he comes across in this, that you wouldn't be a woman if you had the procedure, it's just like, it's wild as fuck. It's all about control and outdated gender views, like someone was saying, and nothing to do with medical concerns or that his partner's going through debilitating pain from birth control while he's dismissing it because it's worked so well for you already. What a bloody Burke. And I was relieved to see that Opie is making moves on this, getting legal advice and, just getting their ducks in a row. Because I just don't know how you would look someone in the face the same way again after that shit. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, you bloody cheeky so-and-so, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.